How's it going, everyone? What you're going to see today is, as promised, because PC offers a lot of the bigger server numbers, so I have a lot more infantry highlights, infantry style gameplays. I'll be posting a lot more of them because I seem to get quite a few of them, and they're a ton of fun for me to not only play and get, but I actually have a lot of fun in replaying them because it gives me the ability to see where I was strong, where I made mistakes. It's a good evaluative process, and I actually thoroughly enjoy watching them. This gameplay here, although it's definitely not one of the better ones I've ever had, definitely was, to me, entertaining. Hopefully to you it would be too. Obviously, as you can see, the gun I'm using for now is the M16A3. It does transition to the KH2002, which is another, along with the AN94, the G3A3, and I believe, and the AUG A3 is pretty good. I'm still leveling up the F2000. I'm still leveling up a couple of the other ones, so I will feature other guns as well. The M16A3, obviously, everyone well, some people think it's overpowered. I don't personally. I think it's balanced well. I think it's a jack of all trades gun. That's why a lot of people like to use it. There's not a lot of weakness associated with it, but it's not exactly the strongest gun either, so it's balanced. I don't find it's a big problem. I have no qualms using it in any regard, in any fashion, ever, regardless of opinion. So, if you're not a fan of the M16A3, well, you can turn the video off now, or at least tune forward to the KH2002, which is a nice gun too. Because the thing is, everyone always complains. It's the nature of video game playing people. They complain. If you die to a gun, you're complaining it's overpowered. So that's why I take absolutely no credit in, well, anyone's complaints, because you're going to complain regardless, so use whatever gun you want. Useless. But anyway, I'll end that rant quick. This is obviously Metro Rush, the M16A3 here. This team was pretty good, but I've noticed, I'll deal with this AMCOM first. The smart thing to do is obviously pop as much smoke as you can if you're the attackers to mask your oncoming rush. I usually just pick the right side here. Sometimes I pick the left if they're stacking one side left. They don't usually, well, left in my perspective, right to theirs, the attackers. But this particular case here, they did take the left MCOM already. But in a lot of circumstances, I take the right because, for whatever reason, a lot of the times when I'm playing, if the left MCOM's taken, they'll continually flood to the left. But a lot of people just maybe it's just that bloodlust fighting for kills, they'll all jump left to completely leave the right flank. So a couple of good placed smokes like this, next thing you know, 2 to 3 guys are rushing in, planting the MCOM, and you're fighting off the next wave. So I stayed to the right, and I'd say I did a pretty decent job for the most part on the right side here, trying to push them towards the middle so that they have no cover and you can take them out, because that's the strategy I use. You want to keep them away from as little cover as possible, and the middle has the least cover, so try to push them toward the middle from the right and the left. But they end up getting these 2 MCOMs here. The unfortunate, well, they did a good job on the attacking part at least. The next wave is where we stop them. Like, spoilers, but yeah, the next part we do stop them. I still think it's pretty good highlights worth, so I'm going to show it anyway, but the next part we do stop them, but I've noticed, at least in my regular amounts of Metro Rush that I play, if the attackers get past this first wave, which in my experiences they almost always do, if they get past this first wave, they usually either get locked down in the next set of MCOMs, which I'm going to now, or they win the whole thing. It's like these next set of MCOMs here are basically the clinch, or the main impact MCOMs. If they get past these ones, there's a good chance that they're going to win it all. If they don't, then they lose. And that's because it's structured that way. There's not a lot of cover. It's basically 2 long corridors of constant bullets and explosions heading toward the attackers as they walk into LMG bipods. They walk into guys like me sitting here with assault rifles firing down long sight lines with not a little cover. And the thing is, I've noticed too, a lot of the times the attackers, they completely forget to use their smoke. Like, for whatever reason, they were popping smoke in incredible amounts, getting to the first 2 MCOMs, and it got them the MCOMs. But then look, once they reach this certain point here, as much as, yes, they're going to be suppressed and shot at anyway regardless, it doesn't mean you give up on the smoke, which they do, and they lose. So, I don't know. I find that happens too much. Especially if I'm on the attackers. I'll be the only one popping smoke a lot of the time. I have a couple of older gameplays, hopefully I still have, I'm not sure if I deleted them or not, where the difference of one guy popping smoke is the difference between one MCOM gotten instead of being stalled out, and inevitably winning the match. It's vitally important. But basically, on defense, talking about the actual gameplay here, you don't want them getting to this point. You don't want them... Well, it depends. I'd say if you get them locked into these hallways, they have nowhere to go, and then you continue just onslaught them as they try to push forward because they're trapped. There's nowhere for them to go. But at the same time, if they bunch up as a pack in the hallways and they all push at once and you're not prepared for your push, if you're sitting on the outside, you're in significant trouble because they're going to be able to get to the flank, to the left, to their perspective left MCOM, and if they get, and that's the goal of the attackers here. And the goal of your defenders, I guess, by answering that same question. You do not, under any circumstances, and again, it's circumstantial, just as with anything circumstantial, but this is the advice that I can give that's worked out for me the best. So, hey, if it works out different for you, by all means. But for me, I've noticed you do not want to, like the MCOM I'm currently defending that's off to the left here, I think it's A, or is it B? I can't tell. I never remember. The MCOM to my left here behind me, directly behind me, is the MCOM that if you had to give one up, give that one up. Do not give up, I believe it's A, or the one further back behind me now, that's like underneath the escalators, or the steps. You do not give that one up. Because not only are there long sight lines getting to it, which make it very, very difficult to get to in the first place, which plays to the defender's role incredibly. That's why they stall out. The other reason is it's next to impossible to actually get in there if you load up 3 or 4 guys just continually bombarding with endless amounts of explosions and other LMG suppressions coming out of it. You do not want to give up that MCOM. If you give up the one B, I think it's B here on the side, they'll get the stairways, they'll get the upper routes, they'll have 2 flank routes now to go toward it, but then if you bunch up your guys inside and around it, it's still going to be hell for them to get in it. But it's a lot harder if they have that. If they get A first, B will be incredibly easy for them to get, as opposed to getting A all over again from the first time. But yeah, that's basically it with regard to that. The KH2002 is one of my favorite guns for long sight lines. That's why I switched off the M16 to it. But of course, you could use the M16 because it's so incredibly versatile, jack of all trades. You could plug it into any circumstance and you could come out well as long as you're a good shot. But I do like the KH2002 because in this case here, if you're defending this left side hallway, it's going to be longer sight lines. And the accuracy that you maintain over these longer sight lines with the KH2002 is only going to be to your benefit. So that's why I use it a lot. I only recently got it because of the co-op. And if I'm not sure if I mentioned it or not already. But thank you to those of you that actually offered to do the co-op with me. I highly appreciate the offers, appreciate the kind gestures. But I just ended up spending the $5 to do the to get the co-op guns. Like normally I'd never, put out money into some, way to gouge more people of getting more guns. But I figured when I bought it about a month ago that I'd get at least 2-3 months out of those guns that I really highly enjoyed using. So the $5 is hardly going to be something that's going to break the bank or be a considerable detriment. But that being said, I did want to spend that $5 to actually get several months worth of use out of virtual guns. So I'm sort of conflicted about it, but I did it. I just did not want to spend a few hours doing the co-op, to be honest. Like, as much as I probably would have had a fun time with the subscribers doing it, I've done it enough. I was sick of doing it when I did it back then. I did not want to do it again. But that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed the actual gameplay, even if you didn't really like the commentary all that much. Let me know if you want to see other guns. Of course, I'm going to do sniping highlights. I'll probably put up a montage soon enough. I have about 3 to 4 minutes worth of pretty decent montage highlights. Just have to find the music to put in the background for it. So hopefully I'll get that one up and going pretty soon. Otherwise, I'll just continue post infantry highlights, waiting out for Battlefield 4, because I can hardly wait. I can hardly wait to get Battlefield 4 and start ripping it up in that. Just holding off with Battlefield 3 until the meantime. Anyway, see you later.